What's it like going to a Nashville jam session? I have a lot of viewers ask me that. So today, I've got my friends Joe and Brad, and they're always curious what's it like to go to a jam session in Nashville. So tonight, we're gonna go to a blues jam at Bourbon Street Cafe in Nashville. Come along with us. Brad and Joe were visiting me from St. Louis, and since they're blues players, I decided to take them down to the Bourbon Street Blues and Boogie Bar for their famous Monday night jam, which goes from 8 to 12 p.m. and is typically more blues, funk, and soul. So around 6:30, we took a walk down there because there's usually a line of people waiting to sign up, and if you walk in around 9 or 10, you're probably not gonna be able to play. So each jam session in town follows a similar pattern. The house band warms things up for about an hour, and then they start calling names. At this jam session, they'll usually grab a full band. Drums, bass, 2 guitars, keys, singer, and sometimes horns or harmonica if they're around. Sometimes you get to go up with friends, sometimes you go up with total strangers, sometimes it's a mixture of both. At Bourbon Street, they usually have people play 3 songs. So whatever group you get called up with, you're there for 3 straight songs. As you can see, sometimes things go great.
I'm a fireman, baby.
And sometimes things are
Fighting fires is all that I know.
different.
I'm a fireman, baby.
Sometimes the abilities of the player on the stage of you are different. You know, that's the risk you take at a jam session.
You're a red hot mama. Let me douse you with my hose.
But when we got called up, I literally hit record the moment we stepped on stage. This is really exactly how it unfolds. I have my stick bag with me. Mojo and Brad had their guitar and their bass with them. Just get a feel for what the stage feels like, what the instrument feels like, have some small talk with the other musicians. Say, hey guys, what are you gonna play? Usually here, somebody will step up or have a suggestion, or sometimes everyone just kind of sits around and goes, I don't know. I actually never played with Brad before, I just met him that day. He's a friend of Mojo on bass. And Mojo and I knew each other from touring with Cara Granger. And notice Brad's super professional count-in description right here. I never played a note with Brad, and he just said, oh man, you'll hear it. And I just said, okay. And this is how it started.
Y'all ready? Yeah, I'm ready. Here we go.
If you're going up there, have a few songs that you would like to suggest. Trust me, it never hurts to have something in mind. Make sure you get keys a little something this time.
Okay, sounds good. Key of A?
I don't know.
It's an original song. It's called Here in St. Louis. It's easy. Pretty much 1-4-5. Right, Joe?
You gonna tell me if
All right,
you
Joe. Y'all, we're going to do a song about my hometown called Here in St. Louis.
Stand face back beat. You got anything in that category?
We're not standing face back. Anybody else want to say anything at all? Or?
You don't know honky tonk? Yeah. Nobody plays that, right? How about Statesboro Blues?
We can do Statesboro.
Let's go! We can
so much.
Oh, look at this man. Hey. Dude, you look like a total tourist.
I am. Oh, man. Long way from home.
Southern spring is changing, took another angel. She was down and picked a gun, the lady smoking in his hand. Said, Father, please forgive me. I just dream, keep on being the way I am.
Don't be creepy. Quickly, how did you think that went? What was that like?
Pretty good. I thought it went pretty good. We go to a lot of jams back in St. Louis, and the Nashville scene is something else, that's for sure.
I wasn't expecting what it ended up being. It was
Really, what'd you expect?
well, I'm just so used to the jams that we have, and I come out and it was like just organized chaos. Like there's so many more people.
So what were the jams that you have? What are they like?
There's a lot of times where people come up, and if you're a guitar player, there's a good chance you're going to just play with the house band.
Okay.
So here, there's so many people that they can't afford the time to do that. So
Yeah.
they just like pick everybody up and build a band essentially.
Yeah, so last night we went to their Bourbon Street Blues Boogie Bar. I always mess up the name. And house band plays a few songs, and then it's really just a free-for-all. And we happened to get caught up at the same time with a bunch of other people though as well. So what was your feeling like on stage? What were you thinking when you were playing, Brad?
You know, being in front of all the people in this place, new place, it's just holding it all together. You know, getting it to where it just sounded good was my main concern.
Were you nervous or intimidated at all because like, oh, I'm in Nashville and the stakes are higher?
Maybe a little bit.
Okay.
Doing this so often, I go to jams every week, and you're doing it so often, it's that part. I know I can get up there and do it, and especially in a blues context. But yeah, it's a lot of energy, a lot of strange faces. I don't know anybody, obviously, other than you guys, but it was a good time.
Joe, what did you think about being on stage? How did you feel? Did you notice that the players were of a different caliber? Was the notes different because you're in Nashville? Like, what was your experience like?
So building up to it, I was rather nervous.
Okay. I couldn't tell, by the way.
That's cool. But before most shows, I'm in a different situation. I get, butterflies and whatnot.
Yeah.
But as soon as it started, it's just music, I know where it's at, and everybody communicates the first song. You kind of feel out where everybody is.
Yeah.
And then after you get that dialogue going, that's how I kind of look at music as communication, as talking. Okay. And as soon as you get going, you kind of feel where everybody is, and you land into the pocket. It's over. It's easy. It's work from there,
And walking away from a jam session, what did you guys think? Like, quick few words. What was your overall feeling?
Lots of reverb in Nashville. Lots of reverb.
Okay, so we had a guitar amp that was like, you're like, I'm not sure what to do with this.
Yeah.
And you didn't want to fudge around with the settings too much because that's kind of, some places it's an unspoken rule, right? Joe.
I felt relief after. It's the big build-up anticipation, and then you're done, and then afterwards, all the weight's off of the nervousness you had going into it.
I said to these boys, I'm like, we should go to the local. And it's the Monday night gig where it's the musicians hang. My buddy Keo plays drums there. Brad, what did you think about when we showed up for that first half hour?
I would say the musicianship that we saw there was incredible. Just incredible players. I am not a big country music person, and for me, I didn't know any of the songs that they were playing, but just incredible musicianship all around from every person on stage.
Same. The musicianship was fantastic. It's there's very few places in St. Louis where you can go on a Monday night and see a band of that caliber just tearing it up. And they bring up guests, people, local guys up there, and everybody just knows exactly where everybody else is. If somebody's not quite on, they don't know the song quite all the way through, they're all carrying each other along. But
yeah, and it was really interesting to me because, again, I'm newer to country music, and like I moved to Nashville about 2 years ago, started playing, and I didn't know any of this stuff. And it was interesting talking to both Brad and Joe because they're not country guys. And I'm like, oh, you know the song? And they're like, no. And I'm like, you don't know the song? And I literally just learned this stuff. But it showed me how much music I crammed in those 2 years, because there's a lot of material you need to learn. There are a lot of country standards. It's like literally learning like a new language. But also last night was atypical, which is a typical Nashville night. So we're watching the band play, and then Brad didn't even know till this morning. And then all of a sudden, like, Zach Brown comes on stage and he's playing. We're like, oh, whoa. And then I look in the corner and I'm like, wait, who's that? I was like, that's Brock Lesnar. And I'm like, Joe, that's Brock Lesnar. You're like, who? And I show him the Wikipedia page. And what did you say?
I was like, oh, I played that guy in a video game when I was a kid.
Yeah. Former heavyweight champion of the world for both WWE and UFC. Yeah.
Just hanging out in a bar in Nashville.
Yeah, and then like Jamey Johnson, a great singer-songwriter, comes up, and then Riley Green comes up as well, and it's like that's one thing about Nashville. Every day can be like this. You never know what's going to happen, and there's always something going on. So you have to pace yourself because it can be super exhausting. Because last night was like, it was great, and what did you say this morning, Joe, about if every night was like that?
Oh, I couldn't handle it. There's no way.
Yeah, it's really like just like, whoa, like full tilt sometimes.
It's draining, and that was even on a Monday night when it's not full-fledged Nashville.
Yeah, and so we're also walking down Broadway after we finished the blues jam last night. Brad, what did you think when we were walking down Broadway at like 9 p.m. on a Monday night? Like, how busy was it? What was the energy like?
It's pretty wild how busy it is down here for the music. Where we're from, the city does not have the foot traffic that you guys have down here. There's people that love music in St. Louis, but they're just not going down there for it in the same sense that they're going down here. So for us, going downtown to Nashville and seeing all these people around on a Monday night of all nights, to see, bands every, it seemed like 15, 20 feet. And then walking in this bar and seeing these musicians that I didn't personally know, but, looking around and seeing everybody's phone pop out and being like, oh man, I should probably know who this is.
Yeah, it's like, I'm not quite sure that is, but they're obviously important because I'm the only person without my phone out recording what's going on currently.
Final words, like you spent, even just 36 hours in Nashville on a Monday, and now they're leaving on a Tuesday. What's your overall, just in a few words, overall thought, vibe about Nashville, the scene, the music, from what you got to experience?
You can definitely see why they call it the music capital. It's just, if you're a music lover, you gotta try it. Come and check it out.
Joe, what are your thoughts?
I'm gonna have to come back and do it again. It was such an experience. It's kind of, not to draw a religious comparison, but it's kind of the mecca of musicianship. Like, I've been to Memphis, I've been to St. Louis, some other music cities, and there's nothing like it. This is my first trip ever to Nashville. I'd never been down here before.
No, I didn't know that. Like, because I guess we've hooked up in Nashville, like, as a meeting point, but we've never played here in Nashville together.
Yeah, I've never even been on Broadway before last night.
Oh, wow.
That was my first time being down in that scene, and just compared to the other places I've been where I've gone for the intention of consuming music, is in a totally different league. There's nowhere else I can think of as close to it.
I really wanted to like paint this picture of Nashville. Like, everyone's going to have a different perspective on it, and sometimes I look at it differently because I'm used to swimming in these waters now, and it really is a magic place. I think every city, every scene has its quirks, its pros and cons, And I always say, like, the same 12 notes that are played in Nashville are played everywhere else. It's just there's a lot more places to do it.
Yeah.
But yeah, I just wanted to share with people an outsider's perspective of Nashville. I didn't have any intention. I was just like, these boys were leaving. I just want to sit down and talk with them today before, they head back to St. Louis. So Brad, that's Brad. Joe, thank you so much for coming out. You can check out Brad at the Brad Allen Band. You can check out Joe at Mojo Murphy. And we might have them back on again or back for another visit. Thanks for watching, y'all.
Thanks for having us.
Thanks for having us.
All right, let's shut this down.